Welcome to the Monday Morning Marketing Podcast for all decision makers and action takers. Take it away, Esther.
Good morning and welcome to another episode of the Monday Morning Marketing Podcast. Today we're talking about social proof. What is it, why it matters, and how you can use it to build trust and grow your business. So Melanie, what is social proof?
Yeah, you always start with me, don't you?
It's a habit now, can't get out of it.
Okay. Social proof is a psychological phenomenon where individuals copy the actions of others to determine the appropriate behavior in a given situation.
Okay, and for those of us just waking up on Monday morning, what does it mean?
Well, you asked.
I didn't expect a dictionary definition of it.
Okay. It's the idea that people look to others to guide their decisions. So if they see other people trusting, buying, recommending other products and services, they're more likely to do the same.
Okay, so why social proof works is because people trust people more than they trust ads or like advertorials, or whether it be like, an online ad or on the side of a bus or on a billboard or wherever you see your ads. You're more likely to trust your next door neighbor to, if they like a product, than you are to trust a stranger on the internet.
I think people they don't feel it's earned. It's like Google Ads, for instance. We've mentioned this before, haven't we? Where people are looking at a Google search and the first thing that comes up is a sponsored ad. But people don't click on that. They scroll down to the first organic, of reference. And weirdly enough, 9 times out of 10, that actually is the same company. They've got both
Yeah.
a sponsored ad and an organic one.
Yeah.
And they just feel it's not earned. So a lot of people treat it as like a decision-making shortcut.
Mm.
And for them, they feel it reduces risk as a buyer,
Yeah. Yeah. Because then you sort of know someone or heard of someone that it's worked for, rather than just seeing a random ad for it and going with it. Obviously, this doesn't necessarily work for the bigger brands. They've already earned their place and they can put as many ads on as they want. But for the little guys like you and me and most of our listeners, then social proof is the way to go. I think you should also mention that it works across all industries. So whether you sell products, services, ideas, whatever you sell, social proof works. So, I mean, you can get social proof by having Google reviews. You can have them by having Trustpilot. I mean, there's so many places now that, people say, oh, we've got 5 stars on Trustpilot, or we've got, 4 stars on TripAdvisor. Whatever industry you're in, there is a platform for people to put ads to put reviews, and that will help you sell. You can also have them on your website.
Yeah, I mean, I think even they're still less trusted because that could be something you've created. But I think that's why it's so important. Why Facebook, Trustpilot, TripAdvisor, Google Business Profile, because you cannot fudge the wording or the stars, or that's very much what the person has put up themselves.
Did Facebook not remove it?
No, it's still there. It's just people horribly overuse it for spamming now.
No.
And the only time it's removed is if you remove it because you've got so many spam reviews on there.
Yeah, whereas with Google reviews, you can't remove them, even if they're fictitious or somebody is
there is
coming
a way,
after
actually.
you thinking it's somebody else.
There is a way, actually. You can have them removed, but normally,
I feel another episode coming on.
Well, we could just discuss that, actually. But there are agencies who can help you, and there are methods. So yeah, let's do that another time.
Yeah. But so when was the last time you checked reviews before booking a restaurant or before booking a holiday, for example?
I'd say the last time I checked for a restaurant was probably last week. And for a holiday, it's actually not even holidays, it's hotel stays.
Mm.
When we go to events, like we were at Atomicon,
Yeah,
we were checking out hotels. Now, we've got a favourite anyway, but it was
me
always
too.
worth looking around anyway, just in case. Because I remember we had this chat about, if we kind of left it a bit late, what would we do if we couldn't get in? And so I did start shopping around to see if there was anywhere else. And a lot of the opinions I checked wasn't actually the reviews from, on the actual pages of the hotels, but from people who attended Atomicon previously.
Oh,
Yeah, no, that's completely the truth. So sometimes it could be friends or family. It could be, maybe you've got a local notice board here in Mullingar. We've got Mullingar notice board, so it's people who live here who put up their preferences. So there's lots of different places that you can get other people's opinions, and it's obviously down to you whether you take them as read or not.
yeah. So we've already said like some of the types of social proof are your customer reviews, testimonials as well. But you can also have things like case studies or
Hmm.
success stories, which for obviously for more industry based, service based businesses, these would be more when you dive into the case studies and success stories. So
Yeah.
we, for example, as web designers, could get our clients to say, previously I wasn't having any success with my website, and since it's been redesigned and the SEO's been done, etc., then our visitors are up 500%, whatever it is,
Hmm.
But do we ask them? No, always forget. But for service-based businesses, then definitely case studies. The same for you, Melanie. Like helping people with their social media, training them.
It's a very personal thing. So to get personal reviews, is the trainer patient, attentive, good working with groups, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's really important that services such as myself do get reviews.
Yeah, yeah, and it can be very difficult to reach out to them. As as a business owner, you almost feel like you're intruding by reaching out and going, "Would you mind, answering a few questions to see how I can write a case study or a success story about
Can
how
imagine
we
that
work
would be.
together?"
Yeah,
You
I can
know?
imagine that would be. I mean, I suppose the kind of case studies you've got there would be more of a corporate thing, because then you've got a whole project, a whole campaign that you're creating.
Yeah,
Um, but then you've got to allow for it to be a public entity, because a lot of people don't want those statistics, that data made available publicly. So it really depends on the type of industry or business you're in.
very true. We actually had a client recently who had a very good case study or success story on her website, and that one of her clients then left and asked for that to be taken down. So
Oh wow.
that's a tricky situation as well, because it was obviously a success when they were there and working with you. So
Hmm.
why should you have to remove it? Again, maybe that's another that's another episode to come. Um,
There's something
but
else we haven't mentioned yet, and that's influencer endorsements. And
see, I,
you've got to find the
mm,
right influencer, because it's got to
well,
be somebody
yes,
somebody that is recognized as the appropriate person for your target audience.
yeah. So I mean, we talked about this briefly before. I mean, I think the example I used was, um, who's your neighbor, Niall Horn, um,
If
who,
only.
well, his
I
mum's your
think you left a
neighbor,
while ago.
but I said, like, if he was promoting a butcher's in Mullingar, it wouldn't go well with him because it actually turns out he's either vegetarian or vegan. Um, I did Google that after I gave the example last time, and I was correct. So I didn't just make that up last time. But like you say, it has to be somebody that aligns with your core values. And you can go back, it's a couple of episodes back where we do talk about influencers and getting the right people
Mm.
behind your brand. Um, but I don't know. I think in some cases, influencers have had their day, because, well,
Ooh.
it's, I know, controversial, but when you're on platforms, so I scroll TikTok, and when they come up with this product, I scroll on. Don't care who it is, don't care if I was already following them, don't care. I am past the whole being paid to promote a product, and most of them are. So, like, good luck to them. Well done in getting that job. But it's the same script over and over and over again. And I just think it's tired and done. Like, it needs to be revamped.
Mm.
And that's just my 2 cents on the on the matter. But again, we could talk about this in a different episode, because today we're talking social proof and how it works and why it works and what it is. So, something that I do think works on a lot of websites are ratings and numbers. Um, for example, if you go to our website, it says, over 200 websites designed and over 500 cups of coffee or tea consumed. And I think those numbers need to be upgraded, because there's at least another 1,000 cups of tea and coffee have been added on since those were done. But things like those, it gives you an insight into what has gone on before. And you and I have both been in business now for over 10 years.
Mm.
So that those numbers, like between us, 20 plus years of experience in marketing, those numbers count for something. And I think they
Mm.
should be front and central.
It depends on what people consider important measurements, isn't it? What is the KPIs that matter to each person when it comes to finding a resort or booking a flight, that sort of thing. But I think what fundamentally it doesn't really matter what people are trying to make a decision about. They still consider user generated content more important than anything you will ever write, because it could be manipulated, it could be adjusted. And, if I know it's not quite the same as an influencer, although they are treated like influencer endorsements. But if it's user generated content, you're seeing the person in their own environment, in their own home, possibly, or out in their local community, talking about your product or service on their own or with friends, and you're seeing the excitement, the hype that's happened, and you're hearing from them themselves their outcomes. And you can see when people are being genuine, can't you? You can see through their eyes, through their body actions, exactly how happy they are about the end result of that time with that particular customer.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I think, like you said, there's an overlap between that and influencers,
Yeah.
because some of them are scripted and some of them, are told what to say because they've been using the product, or they've reached back out to the company and said, "Hey, I really like it," and the company have said, "Could you do this for us?"
Yeah.
So some of them have been asked to do it, but I think the organic ones, the native ones, are wonderful. And leading on from that, then mentions in the media. So coverage in newspapers, even on, in the news, if you can make it into the news, as a good news feature,
Well,
obviously.
ideally, yeah.
Not very much of those going around at the minute. So do reach out
Mm.
to your local news reporters and say, "Hey, there's actually something good happening in my area. This is what it is." And you might be the one interviewed. It could be something unrelated to your business, but something that you as a business owner are involved in. So it could be, you know, I don't know, um, a local cancer support group that you as a business are attending. Well, you as a person maybe are attending, but when you're interviewed, you could then, give your credentials as so and so of such and such a business says whatever. So it gives you that little bit of input. And there are, we talk about the downfall of X, Twitter, but there are still journo requests over there,
Mm.
people reaching out and looking for good news stories, looking for ways to mention small businesses. So do reach out to them and see how it can happen. You might be featured in one, Melanie, yourself, because somebody reached out to you and said, have you moved
Well, I've
from a
actually,
city?
I haven't mentioned this to you, but over the weekend, I took part in a journal request thing, and they talked about how I use effective networking skills, and it was put out by Authority magazine over the weekend.
Brilliant. See?
Yeah,
So you're already doing things that can build up your social proof.
exactly.
Um, this is going to be a bit of a controversial one, but social media numbers. So
Yeah, that is controversial.
it is a bit, but at the same time, I do understand it. So I'm helping to organize an event that's coming up in a few months' time here in Ireland called Social Media Fest. And some of the people that have reached out to us, to speak at the event, I've actually gone and checked their follower numbers to
Touche.
see, so if you're reaching out to say, oh, I want to talk about Instagram, and you've got 5 followers on Instagram, doesn't really
No,
encourage me to, to go, yeah, sure, no problem. When, so it's, I love that people are reaching out and asking to be a speaker at the event, because it saves me a lot of research and trying to, track people down. But if your numbers aren't up there, keep going, because it is one of the things, likes and shares are one thing. But when it comes to speaking at an event, definitely your follower numbers are what I've been looking at.
agreed. But it doesn't have to be like three figures.
Oh,
You
no,
know,
no.
it definitely doesn't
Well,
have to be three figures. But
it has to be more than
Atomicon,
100.
well, yeah, but Atomicon, they had people like who had like 2 or 3 thousand followers on a
Yeah,
social platform.
yeah.
So we're not talking you have to have 110,000 or anything like that. That
No,
would
no,
be.
no, no. But,
I mean, if you do,
definitely,
great.
definitely, like, when you say 4 figures, I think of 1,000. So
Oh,
definitely
sorry.
around that number.
Yeah.
If it's 999, I'm not going to quabble with you. It's like, it's close enough. Right. So how can we use social proof in marketing?
Yes. Well, I think we've kind of highlighted this a lot, but ideally, you should have reviews and testimonials and make them as plainly obvious as possible, either through your website, or if you're using Facebook, use Facebook reviews, or if you're using Google Business Profile, then that's a fantastic place to put your reviews because it's helpful in search. Um, and I think also mentioning your wins. So, seeing as you've already timed this podcast, I may as well do it as well. Um, myself and Esther, we're both up for awards, and we don't know whether we're going to win or not. But you know, just by the fact that we're nominated is fantastic. It shows that we are considered by our peers to be worthy of recognition. So that's absolutely worth sharing, and that reassures the audience that you are good at what you do.
Yeah. Yeah. And, well, myself personally, I'm really bad at sharing those types of wins because it feels like bragging. But like you say, it hasn't come off our back
No,
that, these have come through. The same, like, you might ask your clients for feedback, or ask them to, send them the link. Here's the link to add a review to my Google review page. They might not do it, but if they do, then definitely share those in social media too. I mean,
definitely.
you're forever sharing screenshots, or of your testimonials, and or some people get them on video testimonials,
Mm,
and highlight them that way. And again, they're unscripted. You haven't told them what to say. It's more natural, especially like talking about events and stuff. At the end of an event, grab a couple of people and say, what did you like about today?
oh, that's
What
the
can we
best
change?
time to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's fresh in their memory, and they're not having to then go, right, I must go and sit down at the computer and do this, and take time out of my busy day to make sure that I get this done by a certain day. No, just grab the people, because most likely, if they're dressed up for the occasion, they're looking their best, they're feeling really hyped
Yeah, they're feeling
after it.
hyped, and it feels genuine. You can feel the emotion in the voice and
Yeah.
the body language and everything. So
Yeah. And don't just collect the proof and have
No.
it in a nice little folder that you tuck away, but highlight it. Show other people how good you are. Show other people what other people think of you, and show them why they should hire you or buy your products or stay at your hotel. Just don't hide your light. Don't hide it under the mountain of
And share it more
paperwork.
than once. That's the other thing. Make it
Yeah.
an actual campaign of sharing. I don't mean daily. That would be bonkers. But you've worked hard to get this testimonial or review or
Yes.
Trustpilot figure, and so don't just share it once.
Yeah.
Add it in as part of your strategy that you're sharing all of your different reviews and testimonials and
Yeah.
feedbacks, because it does reassure people, and I think it gives that extra contact, touch points that you wouldn't have had otherwise.
Yeah. And remember, not everybody sees all your social media posts.
No.
Not everybody reads everything that you put on your website. So, you know,
So, shall we talk about the pitfalls to avoid now?
yes, because there always are going to be things that can sour the situation and can make it less trustworthy.
So, first and foremost, please don't go for fake reviews. They break trust instantly. And it's really, really, really hard to get back. It takes you a long time to build trust and connection and relatability with your audience. Once that's gone, it's even harder to regain.
Yeah. Yeah. And that could be like some people pay for these fake reviews.
Hmm.
Some people reach out to them and go, "Hey, I'll review yours if you review mine." Just don't. It's not worth it. It's not worth
No,
it. And if you're an author, then your Amazon reviews have to be, this is the way Amazon set it up. They can only be from people who have bought the book. So you can't just trade reviews without parting with some money first. So, and don't let reviews go stale. Just because you've got 20 reviews doesn't mean that you can't get more. Okay, just keep getting new ones every time you have a new client or every time somebody comes to your hotel or buys something from you. Ask them for a little review. Ask them, make it easy for them.
hmm.
Leave a guest book and get them to fill it in. Leave a pen there so they can fill it in. I've
Well,
been
yeah,
places recently where there's been a guest book but no pen, and I'm not going to go searching for one. But the more you have of these reviews, then the easier it is for people to get to know you before they even work with you.
agreed. And I think probably the last thing I can think of is don't hide negative feedback. I think it's better to be seen responding to feedback. Now, if it's abusive language and that sort of stuff, then if there are ways of hiding it, I think you can and should. But if somebody's like outright calling you out on something, I think it's more important that you resolve it and you be seen to resolve it. And now, some of that could be like, okay, yeah, completely hear you here. I understand that this has been an issue. Would you mind if we take this offline so that
Hmm.
we can deal with this faster and more effectively? And we'll get back to everybody on here to say when this has been resolved.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. Like hiding from reviews is not a good way to go.
No.
Do address it, or well, like our good friend Samantha Kelly always says, don't feed the trolls, but take the troll offline.
Yes. Honestly, that's so much better.
So, social proof isn't just nice to have, it is essential for building trust and helping people choose you.
So, if you can encourage listeners to review where they're already getting their social proof and how they can showcase it better, if you can get people to respond by email. So, what I tend to do actually, I don't know if you, I think I've mentioned this before actually, is like, especially when I'm doing my supported digital marketing strategy training course, not that I'm plugging that or anything, um, is that's over at 12 hours. So normally around the 10th or 11th hour, I say, here's this week's work. I'd love your feedback. It really helps me build the next updated version of the SDMS. So if you would like to give me a testimonial, and I give them the link to do the testimonial, then that gives me another hour or two to sort of remind them to get it done. I normally bring it up in conversation beforehand, saying, would you be happy to consider doing one? Um, so I don't just kind of put it in text and don't warn them about it in the first place. So, there's a lot of things that you can do that can encourage people, and you can kind of warm them up to the idea as well. And although you don't put words into their mouth, you sort of say, you're currently doing this course, or you're here on a Valentine's Day, or so would you mind mentioning that, so that when people look at the testimonial, they know what the particular review was about. You can
Yeah,
do that.
you can. And we're going to do it now. So please, wherever you listen to your podcasts, leave us a review. It can be 5 stars if you would like, but do leave us some words as well as to what you liked or what you didn't like about today's episode and how we can improve as well.
Well, that's all the time we have for now. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for joining us every Monday morning, and we'll be back next week with another episode.